It's funny because I'm terribly bad at Instagram and social media for this one reason. This one reason only. I like being the unknown factor. So if I walk into a gym, or if I walk into a jam, or if I walk into anything, no one knows who I am.
What's up, guys? Today's guest is a professional freerunner who is most recognizable as the Flow on the hit series Ultimate Tag. Please welcome to the JAMCast, Mr. Tavon McVey. What's up, dog?
What's up, dog? How you feeling, man?
Good, man. Good. It's kind of surreal to see you like sitting still. I feel like I only used to seeing you in motion lately, you know?
Dude, it's crazy. I am not one of those guys that sits down and does interviews. So this is very new for me.
And I appreciate it, man. And more than anything, this is like perfect timing because your episode is coming out literally like 2 days after the season finale, right?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
really
super excited about that. We're super excited. We're doing what we need to be doing to make sure we can get out there. I'm almost at 10K on like Instagram, which is super weird for me.
It's crazy, right? Yeah, the show's kind of taken on like a life of its own. Like people are starting to just like really get behind it. I know like certain people are like getting fan requests to like go to their house and stuff. I saw Austin Ray go to someone's house.
Austin Ray, I think Horse the Nasty. He also got another like thing with Mr. Pop Twist, which is this guy who does like inflatable balloons of all of us. He literally came to Horse's gym and was like, "Hey, this is for you." Yeah, it's nuts.
Like, it's crazy.
People
right?
love it. People love it.
Yeah, it's so cool, man. And I guess more than anything, like what's cool about it is that it's also bringing a lot of our culture to the forefront and our sport to the forefront of mainstream media.
Dude, I am so glad that we had the opportunity to work on Ultimate Tag because I feel like, and I think you would agree with this, I think The Office is funny. I think that episode of The Office is hilarious, but it is so past time that we get past that parkour part and just being like, oh yeah, no, these guys are like actual athletes. Like
it's literally the most recognizable thing is people be like parkour and they do something stupid, and I'm like, it shouldn't be that way. Yeah,
it doesn't have to be that way. Yeah, and it's funny because like I feel like that brought the forefront to like parkour like in the industry basically for people to like recognize, and now I'm like, yeah, I think that's cool and all, but that's not really getting us into play with the women, and so let's work around so we can actually make this a profitable business for people who do what we do.
Totally, man. And I think like probably the first one to kind of get some highlight and shine on our sport in the mainstream media, besides like MTV's Parkour Challenge and Jump City, would have to be Ninja Warrior, of course. But I think the one thing about Ninja Warrior that a lot of people started to see was that rock climbers started to excel in certain assets of it. Yeah. And so that's why people are like, oh, well, being a climber is more advantageous. Whereas in Ultimate Tag, you literally can see a huge disparity, even between the pros, in my opinion, of the parkour athletes and then the non-parkour athletes.
Well, I would say it is this. As athletes in general, I think we constantly want to be in this realm of cross-training. With Ultimate Tag, it's definitely one of those things. If you have a parkour skill set, if you do parkour, you're going to do a little better. But if you have a skill set where you're like doing CrossFit, because we have, CrossFit people, we also have acrobats. We have cheerleaders. If you can do any of these particular things in your cross-training, you're going to come to Ultimate Tag and crush it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Maybe not against everybody, but...
Yeah. And you know what does stand out also, though, is that there have been some competitors who very specifically went on there as a parkour practitioner, like Fernando Arce, for example, is what it was. But what was cool, though, is that, like, even within the contestants, you can also see, like, the advantage that parkour has within that game subset and rules.
Oh, for sure. The way I think of it is like this. If you're one of those competitors who's going to jump to your knees going to an obstacle, you're probably not going to get up as fast as the person going to his feet. So
100%, Tom.
Does make a little bit of sense.
Yo, and real quick, just while we're on the lines of that, of like jumping to your knees and stuff, I gotta ask, have you seen The Floor is Lava on Netflix?
I have. I actually got to check out an episode of it like 2 days ago, and to this day, I don't know why I would have loved to go on that. That would have been awesome. But every single person goes to their knees, and it kills me.
Bro, it hurts my soul inside. I'm like, yo, that's day one of like beginner kids class. No knees, no elbows.
No knees, no elbows. It's not that hard, guys. Come on.
Yo, it's really cool though. I think the cool thing, I was talking with someone else about this, is that the coolest thing about The Floor is Lava is that it really shows to the world like why we get paid to do what we do.
Oh, for sure.
Because the average human is terrified of jumping a 3-foot gap. I think the biggest gap on the show is 7 feet.
Is it really?
Yeah, 7 feet, I think. It's the biggest one I remember seeing.
I would wreck that course.
Dude,
I would wreck that course.
I feel like you could get to the end in like 4 strides, bro.
Well, and it's crazy because like when I found out it was like it's communal based, so like you have to go through with a team. I'm not really good with how to work with the team. So if it's just like, oh hey, put me on the course and like run at it, I can get it done. But I'm like, oh crap, I have to get my 2 friends a pet. All right, guys, best of luck. I'll see you at the end. So
I have seen an episode though where like, let's say both teams like lose like almost all their competitors. Really? Then I think it comes down to whoever got the first one in first. So
time.
You do have that. Yeah, you do have that fallback, you know. Yeah. But yeah, it's just really funny to me because in my mind, it's like 2 varying skill levels when you watch The Floor is Lava and then you watch Ultimate Tag.
It's funny. It's funny because I think I got to like episode 2 or whatever, and they have like the US like gymnast guy, and he comes in, and I'm like, all right, he's gonna come in, he's gonna jump to his feet, and he goes right to his ankle, and I'm like,
to his ankle, stop.
Why? You've done gymnastics. No.
I know. The only thing I will say that I think is a little difficult is the amount of water that does get on some obstacles. I'm like, all right, you can't fake wetness.
Well, I mean, obviously, I think you have a pure advantage if you're like the first person on set that day going. Because I think after a certain amount of time, everything does get a little kind of
It looks
sketchy.
wet. Yeah.
And I've heard from people who like tested on the show, it's not like actual water, it's like slime or whatever, or like whatever. It's
so
like
that's different.
A weird looking lube, but it's like clear. And I'm like, I could see how that would be like a tripping and falling hazard.
I could see how like even with skill, you'd have to be on point.
Yeah.
You know? You got to be super
for sure. For sure.
That's
7
wild.
feet though. I don't.
Yeah, I swear the biggest one I saw was 7. A lot of them are like 3 and 4 feet though. Where like I swear people like half the time are just reaching with their foot and they can touch the object. I'm like, if you can touch it,
I was gonna say I literally watched an episode yesterday where the guy put his foot out, he stepped on it and it fell right in, and I was like, how are you putting your weight into the? Okay,
I know.
All right,
and then I see some other things where I'm like, dang, I don't know if I could do that. So why is that average human trying that? Like they have this one where it's like a pyramid and everyone gets stuck on the top,
right?
And I'm like, yeah, that looks hard. Like you got no hold points. Like
it almost looks like it's shaped in a particular way where it's tilted downwards. So the moment you get on it, if you don't kick off it and go, like you're stuck.
Yeah, if you try to hang out on it, it's game over.
It's probably you're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna have a bad time.
I'm glad I'm not the only one, bro. I was watching the show like, what is happening? Like, you know.
Well, it's funny because like I feel like a lot of those shows that are coming out now that are like really physical based, when you look at them and you look at the like people who come to our show like Ultimate Tag, it's like okay, I can see like where they are. So have you seen that other show Cannonball?
I have seen some of Cannonball, not all of them.
It's just like people launching themselves off of these huge ramp and into water, and I can't swim. So first and foremost, it's not gonna happen. Sorry, that's just me. So I saw this and I was like, I would love to have some of these people over here because I feel like the competitors weren't really that bad. It was just they were going in the water at like a very high velocity.
Totally, yeah. It's a difficult thing. Like some of these shows I watch, and I'm like, how do they convince these competitors to get on here with the hopes of winning money? I'm like, yo, some of y'all look like you're gonna have permanent spine damage. You know,
I'm sorry. I'll take the 10 grand for playing tag every single day,
dude.
Every single day,
100%, man. Oh, that's so crazy, man. So along the lines of Ultimate Tag, how did you get involved with the show? And dude, do you know how they cast you guys specifically?
It's crazy. Because I tell literally everybody the same story because a bunch of people have asked me. I started off with my first WFPF US championship. Like for speed. And then from there I had
USA Parkour.
US Parkour. Yeah. They contacted me. They went on to do things. They flew me out to Madrid, Modern Turkey, which was fantastic. Would absolutely go back again.
That was a cool course.
From that, World Chase Tag actually contacted me, and apparently I was on a short list of like, I'm not going to name any people, but some really cool people. And I was like, I can't even believe I'm on this list of people to like bring a team. And they're like, yeah, well, I mean, if you want to come over, you can do it. And I'm like, absolutely. So I got a group of 5 guys together. We went over there as the first US team. We did really well. I think it did something like 37 million views in the first like year or something. And then the Ultimate Tag people like saw that, contacted me, and was just like, hey, we saw you from this. Would you like come
You're in
over
America
here?
too. Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, why would I not?
Okay.
All right, cool.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, and it's funny because like everyone else had like a role to play, and they were just like, yeah, just be you. And I'm like, really? Just be me? Like, yeah, that's more than enough. And I'm like, cool beans.
Yeah.
Cool
That's
beans.
awesome. And who came up with the flow? Did you guys have a say in those, or did they?
Dude, it's weird. It's weird because I am not an Instagram guy, and that's why I said like that whole like me getting to 10,000 followers is like such a big thing because I'm like I don't social media.
Yeah, totally.
Like really badly. My original social media name was Free Flow Wizard. Someone actually made that for me. Shout out to Liam. if you're watching this. He made an Instagram for me, and originally my Instagram name was Free Flow Wizard before I went on the show. Exactly.
Okay.
And they just took the flow out of that and made that. Oh, okay. Well, now you're the flow, and I was like, well, can I just be the wizard? Or it'd be kind of cool to have my whole thing. And they're just like, no, we're gonna call you the flow, and that works. I'm like, all right, that's cool. You pay me, so it's all right.
Okay, no, that's super, super cool, man. And then, so when you guys actually got the call for the show, what was the process like? Did you guys have to go in there and do like testing? Did they hire you right away?
Oh, you know what's funny? I would say it's weird because when they brought me in originally, I essentially thought it was as an audition, but I'm a parkour guy. I don't really, if you put me in a fun course and say, hey, play around, I'm going to play around on it. Originally, they brought me in twice. So they flew me in once. They had like 2-3 games in, and they were like, "Hey, would you like to do this?" Yada yada yada. And I was like, "Yeah, I'll come in and hang out and do the things." And it was one of them happened to be the Dome, which was still to me my worst event. I'm super tall, and the Dome
looks
comes
claustrophobic.
Up to, it's like the size of my chest, like from standing upwards. So it's really tight for a guy like me to be in there, and they didn't have so many different like obstacles in there now. So it was open. You can do more stuff and things like that. Anyways, they brought me in and they were like, hey, would you like to come and try this? And I'm like, I'd be down, but it's kind of tight. And they're like, I think you can make it work. And I'm like, okay, we'll give it a try. I don't know if this is going to actually work, but all right. So they brought me in. They said, oh, we loved you. And it was like me and like 4 other people. Wavy, who also was supposed to be on the show, but unfortunately he had other things he had going on. So it sucks. I would have really loved to play with him some more. Like, he's such a cool dude. Me, actually, Horse, and then the Viking were all on the same day for all like essentially testing, but it was really auditioning.
Yeah.
They brought us out, and then they brought us in for Chase Tag, which is where obviously I crushed things. And they were like, yeah, the moment I came back for Chase Tag, they were like, yeah, would you like to be on the show? Like, actually, and I'm like, oh, I mean, I thought I was earlier when you
first called it.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, crazy, man. And so, like, when you guys were shooting that, where were you guys at? Were you guys on a set stage where they built the obstacles?
We were at, I want to say this correctly, we were at Warner Brothers Studios at Soundstage 16.
Dope. Okay.
A really famous one.
And I think, 10 episodes in total? How long did it take to film?
It's like, oh, God. Yeah, that one sucked.
Yeah, that's what I want to know is how long did it take to film and how long per episode?
The problem was they grabbed us super late, and because they all grabbed us like super late, we had to we switched out literally like 4 taggers at the time.
Okay.
It took 2 weeks. It should have taken a month, but it took 2 weeks.
To shoot the whole show?
Yeah, to shoot the whole show.
Wow. So you do like an episode a day, basically? Okay.
We did like 4 episodes a day.
Wow.
Yeah, we backed up pretty crazily on it, and the fact that like, I mean, a bunch of people got hurt like day 2-ish, 2 weeks of like just straight on go. And it's crazy because like people look at like Ultimate Tag and they're like, oh, the taggers like have a clear advantage because the competitors have to like go out and things like that, but they're not looking like
the swap. Yeah.
No, the swap is like the taggers are doing 6-7 games, the competitors are doing 1 game a day, and we're there for the entire day, so we're kind of tired.
Yeah.
It's funny because I got like I have a permanent scar on my chest now because of it, which is so much fun. I like ruptured my groin at one point in time after the show, which sucked for a bit, but it's cool. We're good now.
Dang.
Train, but a bunch of people got hurt. So I think hopefully for season 2 we do a longer set, which would be great, but we don't know how that's gonna go.
Dang, that's crazy. And do you guys have official word yet that you're coming back, or is it still in limbo-ish?
Literally, I have a meeting right after this to talk about that. So,
wow.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, I know you've seen Ultimate Tag. It's going to Australia now.
Yes, so I did see that, which is always a good sign.
I was gonna say, the idea is, if they're getting one, we're gonna get a second season. I would love if they like flew me out to Australia though, because there's some monsters out there I could try.
Dang, yeah, I've always wanted to work in Australia. It's one of the few places I haven't been flown out to. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, definitely want to make it out there. Well, that's cool, man. So obviously it's like a super intense packed game when you're shooting that many episodes in a day and stuff like that. What's your favorite course, and then what's the one you hate? Obviously, I think you just said the Dome, right? Dude, so what's your favorite one then?
I hate Dome Tag. It's weird. It's weird. They're like neck and neck, but I really like Revenge Tag because because of the fact that like if you tag a button, now you can chase us. Like like obviously as pro taggers, we love chasing you guys down, but it's fun when I get someone who's like, I actually want to try to kind of get this guy, and I'm like, bye.
Yeah.
got to give the moves, stick and move, you're not worried about it. But it's either between revenge tag or probably chase tag.
Okay.
The final showdown's fun and all, but because the final showdown's set in a particular way where you can only do, like, as the runner, you can only do half of the course.
Totally.
Not really that fun.
If you don't catch them by
that exactly.
time,
By that point in time, it's like, okay, well, I guess I have to stop.
Totally. So I got a question for you. Whenever I watch Revenge Tag, the one thing I always see is people trying to reach over and grab. If you reach over and pull it off, it counts as a tag.
Oh, yeah.
But you're just not allowed to jump over the wall.
Jump on it. Yeah. I mean, you got to make it kind of even for the normal people.
Yeah, because if you could jump over those walls, it'd be over.
Yeah, it'd be over. It's funny that you mentioned that too, because and I was saying this earlier. There was something that they were supposed to. I hope that they made it into the final cut, and like obviously a lot of things didn't make it into the final cut. But I actually planned on like backflipping over a guy like as he was chasing me. Yeah, and it didn't make it into the cut.
No way.
Like, he came in, I came up, and as I was coming up, he stepped back, so we kind of landed on each other.
Oh, yeah, they didn't want to show that.
Yeah, and obviously they didn't want to show that. But no one got hurt, so it was like, oh, dude, why didn't that make it into the cut?
Dang.
That's so tight.
Yeah.
That's so tight. We also had another guy who and I don't know why they showed one guy running into a TV and not another guy. I was chasing
the one guy
dude.
broke one of them.
Yeah, exactly. We had one guy I was chasing. He was running like fast, but he wasn't looking, and I was like right on his like tail, essentially. He was coming around this corner, and he went to go, I guess, scoop right, and just completely tripped and fell like face forward into a TV.
No way.
Yeah, and we were all like,
damn.
All right, I'll give him the tag. Is he all right? Like,
yeah.
Is he good? Like, luckily, he wasn't hurt. It was all good. But the fact that didn't make it through was just like kind of weird too, because I'm like, why not? Like, people would eat that up.
Yeah, I think it's like a fine line with their time slot of like trying to not show too many injuries and stuff.
True.
It's crazy. But then again, we never know.
Yeah.
There's a whole game going on. Is there anything else that was left out that you did personally? Besides the backflip over somebody?
It's weird that thing with the eccentric beast, the guy who essentially taunted me with a really bad backflip, and I don't even know if people kind of saw
the one that turned around and backflip.
He just like completely was just like, oh, I am challenging you out. And you see it in my face, I'm like, oh, okay, you, you're the one. When I went for that front flip coming out, I actually went for a front pre and then came down, but they cut it to where it looked like I came to the ground instead of like I went.
But you tried to pre.
Yeah, well, yeah. No, I mean, I actually did. I pre'd and then came down from the pre.
Oh, okay, but they didn't show that.
Yeah, exactly. They only showed one of them. I'm like, well, why not just show?
Yeah, right, it's way harder.
Whatever.
That's wild, man. Yeah. And so, like, when the competitors are out there, is that their first time on the course, or do they get time to play around before?
No, everyone gets a lot amount of time to practice on the course. So it's not like you're thrown into it and things like that. And they also, all the competitors also got a parkour class at one of the mini Tempest gyms here. So
no way.
Yeah. So we wanted to make it like at least sort of like.
So they kind of get some sort of
exactly. Yeah. Well, you don't want people jumping on a course and trying anything that shouldn't be doing with adrenaline and then getting hurt. So
totally, that's really funny now that you say that. Now that makes sense because I feel like I see people doing like really bad speed vaults, and it's like, oh, they probably took a class.
They probably took a class.
Took one class.
Took a class. And it's funny because like a bunch of the people who like I think did really well are the people who like. When they took the class, they were like, their ears and eyes were listening, and they were like, all right, I should pick this up because I'm going to be using this later. And the people who did like kind of really, really badly, you can kind of see it's just like, oh yeah, you weren't listening when you took that parkour class, did you?
Wow. And who's physically teaching it? Is it you guys, or is it like
it wouldn't really be fair if we were.
That's what I was asking. Like if there's a competitive advantage.
There wasn't really any competitive advantage in the sense of we were teaching them, but they were taught by Tempest athletes. So
perfect. All right.
People they should be learning by.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's dope, dog. Well, it's been a very successful series so far, man. I'm super stoked that hopefully you guys get a season 2 out of it, more than anything.
Dude, fingers crossed.
Yeah, it'd be super cool. And what's kind of crazy to me, though, is that, like, even, backtracking into your story, how you did, World Chase Tag before that and then USA Parkour before that. Yeah. What's kind of crazy is that, like, when I look through footage of you training, even on your own Instagram, there's no speed runs on there. But yet you're notoriously known and you compete on speed shows.
It's funny because I'm terribly bad at Instagram and social media for this one reason only. I like being the unknown factor. So if I walk into a gym, or if I walk into a jam, or if I walk into anything, no one knows who I am, and I just kind of show up, do my thing, and then I can just kind of leave as quickly as I was in, as quickly as I left out. It's weird because like. This whole like people liking me and people like looking at me thing is very new for me. Yeah. So I'm trying to, I guess utilize it as much as I physically can, but like deep down inside, I'm just like, no, I kind of just like the fact that nobody knows who I am and I can just kind of go anywhere, which is nice.
Ah, totally. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
I specifically don't put speed runs up on my Instagram for that reason.
I was going to ask, but do you train them?
Yeah, constantly.
I was going to say, I was like, dude, there's no way he's this good at it, but there's no clips of him running online at all. I'm like, this is crazy. I
try to make sure, like, literally all the stuff that does exist of me is hidden in, like, other people's videos.
Yeah,
so
like a little segment.
You find it, exactly. It's like a little segment. It's like, oh, you have to, like, really be finding it. Like, if you do your homework, you really can find some things because there are a bunch of them out there, but I'm not advertising it.
That's dope, dog. And so with that being said, like, when did your official parkour journey start? Like, how old are you and how long ago was that?
It's crazy. I mean, we can't count 2020, obviously.
Yeah, it's tough.
So that's the mulligan. But technically, I've been training for 15 years.
Wow.
Started in 2005.
And what got you into it? Like, what was your first, like, view of parkour that made you feel like, I want to train?
We had a class trip, I remember. It's just the funniest story, actually. We
High
had
school or like?
Middle school. Middle school.
Okay.
We had a class trip we went on, and it took us to New York for some odd reason, and we went to Central Park. And while we were in Central Park, I got to see these, like, guys who, like, at the time, I didn't know who they were, training parkour, and they were doing things. And turns out it was Yamakasi on their, like, on their, like, US tour.
No way.
Through, and, like, I just happened to be at the same place at the same time
the
while they were
OGs
doing
of OGs.
things, and it just fell through.
No crap.
Yeah.
So you literally got to see, like, some of the founders of our sport, so to speak.
Straight up. It was the first time that I got to see Sebastian Foucan. I think David Bell was around. I don't think he was at that one particular.
Okay.
And then, it's crazy because, like, for me, it's just it feels almost like not preordained because nothing, like, fate's not a real thing and it's nothing's like that. But it almost just felt like, wow, you couldn't have pictured a thing like this at a perfect time, you know? And it's crazy because, like, I already at that point in time, like in middle school, I had the nickname Spider-Man because I was just, like, constantly jumping around and doing things. But I didn't know what parkour was. I didn't know there was, like, an actual form to it. And I didn't know what tech was. I didn't learn tech until 2016.
Wow. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
I was just going to ask you, like, because of that, even though you were exposed to it, how did you go about training it? Because back in 2005, it wasn't a massive scene in the United States at all.
Dude, I mean, there was the form, you know?
Yeah.
I still remember my username, you know what I mean? Like, that's how old, like I was. Like, but yeah, it's funny. I shout out to Pinnacle Parkour, first and foremost, because if it wasn't for them coming to Philadelphia and them allowing me to build a gym with them, I wouldn't have gotten as good as I am today, honestly. Okay. I love bars because of that reason. Our entire gym has bars back in Philly. And because it has bars, you have rails, and because you have rails, you learn tech. It kind of goes hand in hand. And especially when, like, you know, like it's funny because I tell people constantly, the best thing that they can do for themselves is just to get started. Anyway, anyhow, just get started. If you can do that, like, the rest of it will come through. And I kind of feel like from 2005 up to, like, 2006, I was dabbling in it. Like, I was doing, like, basic stuff. I was really working my fundamentals. But when it came to, like, 2016, when I, like, started to build a gym and did all these things, like, I learned tech. I learned tech because I was around people who were actually doing it. And at that point in time, I wasn't really around people. I was just solo training constantly. So, like...
okay. So the solo training is a tough one in the sense that, like, you're your own teacher.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's rough. And what was the scene like in Philly? I honestly don't know of the parkour scene out there. I just know of the tricking scene.
I was going to say the tricking scene, which it's super funny because, like, I took a year off to just trick, and this is when, like, Scotty Skeleton came through with obviously Alex Hunter, who's another really big head guy. He's one of the guys I trained with for a bit. Will Coney's, all these guys. When they came through, I was just like, this is really cool. I want to do this. So I took a year off to just do that. But the tricking community is obviously bigger than the parkour community because the parkour community is non-existent. We didn't have a gym.
Wow.
We didn't have any sort of representation up until, like, I want to say 2011 or whatever. And even then, it was like the people who were training were from Jersey.
Okay.
So it's like it's a lot harder to connect with these people when you're not actually living here.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's wild, man. And 2005, honestly, is, like, pretty far back. There's not a lot of people that I meet this day and age that were still training back then. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's almost like you're part of the, like, what we like to joke about as the old gen. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, it's weird. I would be honored if I ever could put on such a harmonious name for myself.
Yeah, right.
But considering I feel like I didn't really start training until, like, 2016. I'm just like, no, I'm just an old head.
That's crazy.
31, but I'm just an old head. Just, just hanging out.
But year-wise, I mean, you were around. What's kind of cool is like you were around, like, if for lack of a better term, it's kind of been known before. People used to say like the Golden Age of Parkour, which is like, that's when, obviously, like right now we're in the age of social media influencers. We got like, Dom Tomato, Pasha, they got 1 million followers and stuff. But I feel like back then in like 05 and stuff, there were a lot of very distinct personties.
Oh, for sure.
Around our community.
Oh, for sure.
So many personalities.
Oleg was a very big inspiration in a lot of my movement, and it shows when I move very particularly. And I'm talking about like 2007, 2008. Like I feel like those were like the golden years of like creativity, because like it wasn't really about so much the move set, but about like the style for it. And I still feel like, and it's weird, I still feel like a lot of it nowadays is more about like tricking and how to add that particular aspect into parkour now, because like, what trickers do is so much cooler than what parkour people do. And when we can like utilize that side of it and throw it in there, like we got people like Josh Malone, who's just insane. He tricks, and I'm just like, dude, like that's the future of parkour. It's gonna be this weird crossbreed of like trickers and like parkour guys that
totally,
freerun,
dog.
And it's gonna be insane.
Bailey's on his way.
That's what I'm saying. I cannot wait to see how good he's going to be, because like just spinning alone, like I'm imagining like in my head, it's so weird. I'm like, he's gonna like concrete something, and he's gonna like lâché, and then from the lâché like freaking pop full twist to like snapu, and I'm like,
totally, man. Yeah.
Oh, a human being should not be able to move like that.
It's kind of crazy though, like what you're saying though, like in my opinion, and this is no disrespect to the current guys that are out there, because I think what they're doing now is absolutely insane. I look at some of these runs on like the Tempest comp, and I'm like, that's insane. That would have won you an Art of Motion 5 years ago, Right. But what I do see that like you're kind of referring to is that like I think the style was different. I feel like now everyone has to put a cast back or a gate in their freaking runs, and I'm like, I'm tired of seeing cast backs.
It's weird, but I think there's a current list of like moves to make a line to make it like okay, and I completely agree. Like cast back is definitely one of them where it's so common that everyone's doing it. Same with pimp flips, everyone's doing them. Kong gainers are now at that point where
it really is common.
Doing them.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that's cool. I think that's dope, but like it doesn't really feel as stylish as like the things that I like.
Totally. And I think though that like we are along the same thinking, in the sense that like when someone like Kaylin Chan busts out Kong gainer full or full Kong gainer full, people freak out. Yeah. Which in my mind means like, oh, so we are saying the right thing, which is it is boring to just continue to do the same moves.
Actually.
But at the same time, obviously, we can't demand everyone to go out and try to do Kong gainer full, because it's insane. But obviously, I think the community is in search of like new moves. Clearly,
Dude, if we get to a point where the common sense is everyone doing Kong gainer full out, I'm quitting.
Oh, dog.
No, it's done. It's done. Like I'm old. There's no way in it's not happening. My knees couldn't take it.
Dude, I'm at that point in tricking now where like the standard 10-year-old can do triple fulls, and I'm like, yo, what is happening right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's really dope that people are starting that young, and we have that much talent out in the world. But it's scary because it's just like, man, I want to be a part of this, but there's eventually going to be a time where I'm gonna have to just hang up my my Tiger Bomb, hang up my knee brace, because it's as much as I want to hang with you guys, I cannot do it.
Oh, bro, I'm at that point now, especially when I go out with Bailey and go train on these missions. We'll go to like I take him to all of my old stomping grounds. Nice. And there's a lot of times where I'm like, yeah, so like watch this video of me in 2010. I'm like, I did this Kong pre here, and he watches, he's like, oh, that's you. And I'm like, I'm not going to do it now though, bro. There's no way.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Oh, it's not going to happen. Even people like Connor are starting to train with Paul Whitecotton, and I'm like, man, I gotta like stay away from you guys because I can't be out here on the concrete all the time. It's
and it's funny. It's funny because obviously their energy is very infectious, so it makes you feel like you want to go out and try it, and then you're like,
no, I'm good.
Man, I gotta get up and go to work tomorrow.
Exactly.
Like, I should be chilling.
Oh, I was there for one of Bailey's first slams. I don't know if you saw the Kong pre where he slipped and hit his stomach.
I didn't.
Oh man. Yo, Connor, try to pull that up what we're talking about if you can. But long story short, dog, so he's been putting in work in parkour. Like he's been leveling up big time, hitting Kong pre's where I'm like, dude, that's pretty awesome. But then we went out for 1 day training, and I remember he looked at this one jump. He's like, that's what I want to do today. And he's like, you want to do it? And I'm like, I looked at it and I was like, the wall's too low for me. I was like, I'll like hurdle pre it, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm like, that wall looks a little low and it's like super thin. I'm like, props to you, dog, you know? So we like did my stuff.
Yeah.
I finished all my gags. I'm like, all right, let me go film you, right?
Yeah.
So I take him over here and it's gonna start to replay right now, obviously. Okay. And so for those of you that are listening just to the audio broadcast, we're watching Bailey Payne's Kong pre-bail. Oh! And dog, right here, my man is going through it, all the senses right now. You've been there, right?
Oh my gosh, Bailey, I know exactly where you've been, buddy. Oh, that sucks.
And I literally was like, I've been here before. Once I knew he could walk and was good, I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep filming so he has this for the rest of his life. And I'm just talking him through it like, how you feel, buddy? I'm like, isn't it crazy that Dom Tomato splats like this like once a week? And he walks away and he's like, yeah, dude, I don't get it.
Dude, Dom is the bail king, and
Bro.
It's funny because I don't fall often, but when I do, man, it's literally like that, and I'm just like, yeah, I can't do that too often.
Can't be doing that.
Can't be doing
Dom
that.
will do that, and he'll just get up and laugh like,
yeah, he's laughing it off. I'm like, oh, I think I'm bleeding internally.
Yeah,
good.
bro. I was so glad I was there for that, but I was like, that was one of those things where I was like, well, Bailey just learned a huge parkour lesson.
Welcome to the club, Bailey. Welcome to the club.
Exactly
it sucks, but it's so good.
Oh, it's so good, man. Well, no, like you said, one of the things that got you discovered back in the day was USA Parkour.
Yep.
And then you are technically a 2-time champion.
3-time.
3-time now.
3-peat.
Wow.
3-peat.
So which ones did you win? And Connor, can you try to pull up one of the ones there? I think you may have to scrub through like 25 minutes. But which ones did you win?
It depends. Do I come out swinging, or do I be very modest? Because I could say my very first one, I beat Eric Mukumechin.
Oh, I do remember that one. He got second at that.
That was my very first win, and I came in as a nobody, as an unknown factor. No one knew who I was, and they were just like, "Oh, hey."
That picture of him on the podium is funny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, I didn't expect the win, and when I like heard that I won, because I was like in the bathroom somewhere at that time, and someone grabbed me and they're like, "Hey, you won!" And I'm like, "No way."
Yeah.
No way.
Exactly.
And I'm like, "Oh, I'm here all of a sudden. How did this happen?"
What city was that one? Do you remember?
Sorry?
Would you remember what city that one was? The first one?
That was, all of them have been in Tampa.
Okay, so Tampa. All right.
Yeah, funny story about that actually. While that was all happening, like as a parkour person, you want to go there and you want to do as much as you physically can. Tampa Strides, obviously infamous.
Of course,
you want to go there and do that.
You gotta go.
I've done them 3 times over the course of the last 3 years and have not gotten myself filmed.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
First year, saddest story, dude. First year, it happens so our competition happens right around the time of Gastarella, which is essentially Tampa's Mardi Gras in a weird way. Yeah. So it's like all about pirates and things like that. So when I went to the stride place, it was filled with police. Like it was a parade going on. So I'm like, all right, this is gonna be like a quick mission, like an in and out. And I was by myself, so I'm like, dude, I don't know how I'm gonna make this work. Let's just figure out who can get to film this real quick. So I found this like really like inebriated guy. Shout out to you, my dude, because of the story.
That's funny.
And I was like, hey man, I'm gonna if you just watch me and press this button and do this exact thing. Like I showed him how to track, I showed him how the phone worked and things like that, yada yada. I was like, hey, could you just film for me real quick? Do this. So he like does it, he tracks me, whatever, yada yada yada. I walk away, I hit it, first try.
No way.
Snapped it. I was like, oh yes. I'm like, all right, hold on. I think I can do the flip out of it. Let me try that.
Yeah.
Come back, flip the gap. Come back and I'm like losing it. I'm like I'm so excited. I'm just overjoyed with like, yo, I can't believe I did that. Yes, like only like 4 people in the world have done it.
Totally.
I run back. I see the police are now coming my way. So I'm like, oh, I gotta go. Like, dude, can I get my phone? Like, dude gives me my phone. Yada yada yada. I walk out, grab my Uber, jump to the airport because now I'm on my way to the airport because it was like literally it was like a one and done. Like
wow,
my
shot.
airport. Yeah, my airport ride was like leaving at like 2 hours after the fact. So I was like, oh, okay, I only have a finite amount of time. Got in the Uber. So like I'm at this point, I'm telling the Uber driver, I'm like, hey man, I just did this really cool thing. Like literally only 3 other people I've seen have done it.
Totally.
It's super cool. Like I'm super joyous. And the guy's like, oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I look into my phone. I go into my gallery. First thing I see, and I wish I had the photo on my phone. It's a photo of my back walking away from the dude.
No way.
Yeah.
So
he sat there, tracked me. Like he was so inebriated that he tracked me with a photo of just me like walking away, but like did the entire thing like where he was like actually tracking me,
record.
wasn't recording. And I'm like, my entire heart out of my body.
Brutal, dog. Yeah. It's crazy when you hear these stories about moves that are missed, and everyone's always like, yeah, that's bullcrap. But like, dude, that's a legitimate story. Yeah.
Second year, I couldn't do the flip because it was raining. I just stuck it, and same exact thing. It was Gastrella, so no one, and I didn't trust anyone to film at this point in time. And I was like, hey, I would love if someone from the parkour community could come with me real quick. So that would be cool. Yeah. So I tried to set up a camera, and I do have the video of this. I tried to set up a camera where it just was farther enough away so it caught everything, but it's just so far that you really can't see how big it actually is. So it was just no point. And then the third one, I was just like, well, it's not going to happen, so I'm not going to film it. There's no reason. It's the 3P, whatever.
Dang, that's crazy. You have plans to go back? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's an iconic spot.
Yeah.
Definitely
the plan is I'm going to probably hit up the Rilla Hops guys, Jimmy and then Gareth, and see if we can go back, and maybe even Caleb, and see if we can just do a video or whatever, because it'd be cool.
Hell yes. Cool. All right. Dope, dog.
Yeah.
Well, along the lines of your winning the speed comps and all of them, Connor, can you pull up one of those if you have it? But more than anything, I guess my question for you is, when you're doing these speed comps, how do you determine your line? Like, do you do it like through trial and error while you're watching it, or do you visualize in your head and just go? Like, how do you determine the fastest way there? Because obviously you pick different routes than other people, you know?
Yeah. So a lot of my speed courses, nice. That is the third wind.
I think so. Yep. The most recent one.
That's the most recent one. So what I do is I plan a line specifically off the idea of, there's a version of, and I think you probably would agree with this. There's a version that you have in your head when you see things, like when you like look at how you want to move and do things like that. And in my head, I'm like, if I want to be this guy who's winning things, who's actually defending a title, who's actually deserves to be in this particular stage, then I have to pick the line that's going to work the best for me. And for me, it's always like, I can visualize it. I want to be that person. So when I run, I'm literally just following this after image of what's actually happening. So I work it all in my head, and you can kind of see it in a little in the video coming through. It's funny because I've seen the video enough times to know. I think it's at the 25 mark.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's at the 25 mark. So when I step up, I'm literally just like following the line of the person in front of me.
Okay.
Oh no, this is the very first win. Yeah.
Is this 18?
This is 8. Yeah, this is 18. So yeah, when I look at like all of that, it's funny because it's, as much as I'm like talking and doing things, I'm like, oh, I really am kind of fast, aren't I? There's Chris. There's my boy.
I know, it's crazy, right?
Well, no, it's just funny because I'm like, I don't know. I don't look at myself and think of myself as fast. I look at myself and I think of this version of myself that I want to be, and how can I get to making that version of myself my actual reality?
Yeah.
You know? So it's not me just looking at where I want to be. It's me being the person I want to be. You know.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And now, have you ever slipped in a competition?
Oh, constantly.
Okay.
Constantly. Yeah. But Kumi, you plan for it.
Okay.
You know, my Okumi is on point. So anytime that I do fall, I need to know that obviously you don't want to roll on the speed comp, because rolling is just, it's the death of you. It's giving up 3 additional seconds.
Totally.
Yeah, I learned that actually from my first NAPC qualifier, where I went against Max Henry, Big Mish, shout out the king. He's back. Big Mish, Joseph, Rizzo, and then like a bunch of other really fast like East Coast guys. And then like the only reason I even lost that is because I rolled, and I was like watching the tape, and I have somewhere online someone has a one of me speed running, and it's like I think actually Steph might have posted it. It's like all of us running, and it's like top 6 or whatever, and I got 4th. And if you look at it, the only thing that slowed me down was I rolled while everyone else like ran through, and I'm like, oh, yeah,
no rolls,
never again.
Wow,
never again. I'll take the height drop or whatever I need to do to get to my hands and feet, and then go. But if you roll, you're just taking literally 3 additional seconds. You don't need.
Dang, that's crazy to think about. But obviously, when you get to a certain level, you have to take all those things into account.
Yeah. It's funny because I've helped a bunch of other people with speed runs and things like that, and I constantly tell them like there are a certain amount of things that you want to do. You want to try to have as much contact space between you and whatever the actual object is, because when you really think about it, you floating in the air is not doing anything if everyone else is running beneath you. So if you're going directly to something and then coming down, it's way faster than just like, oh, this is safer and doing things. Like, obviously you want to be safe, but when it comes to speed, you're just like, what's the safest but most efficient way for me to move that's not going to take too much time?
course.
You know what I mean? Which is funny because it like worked really well with Ultimate Tag because a lot of the times I'm like touching everything. I'm like pulling everything to pull past. And I'm like, yeah, they don't expect you to be that fast. And I'm like, it's because I know what I'm doing.
Totally.
You know? Everyone else is like, oh, I'm going to do this. And I'm like, okay, I'll meet you here.
Yeah. That's wild, man. And so along the lines of transitioning your skills from speed courses to actually chasing people, World Chase Tag was obviously the first time they kind of put you on like the world platform and stuff like that.
They gave me a platform not only that people for Ultimate Tag was able to see, but I've gotten like 4 or 5 other like offers for other things that I unfortunately couldn't take. But World Chase Tag, like, ultimately, I'm going to say this, WPF has helped me particularly be put on a stage where I am now viewed as an athlete.
Dope.
Which is really weird, and it's weird to say because I'm like, I don't see myself as an athlete. I just think of myself as someone who trains. And without them, World Chase Tag wouldn't have seen me, and without World Chase Tag, Ultimate Tag would have not seen me. So.
100%. Now, I got to give them a lot of credit, too. I know they have mixed reviews upon some people within the community, but they were rocking with me since day one back in the days. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been on MTV's Parkour Challenge. I wouldn't have been on the Red Bull Art Emotions. Yeah. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been this like host that got to travel the world and go to all the comps. It's crazy.
I need to get on that level, man.
Yeah. Dude, you're on your way, Doug.
The ideas I'm on my way, but I don't think I'm ever going to. I mean, there's only going to be ever one Travis Wong.
I appreciate it.
I just want to be a Tavon McVey in a world of...
But I got to ask you, is there a memorable match in your mind that stands out? Because obviously, like even in these compilations, like
that one.
That one? I was going to ask you. So Connor, go back. Who is this one?
So that is Haroon, right? Okay. He is probably one of the slickest, like tallest dudes to go against. But it's so funny because me and him, like we train, we hung out together, we've had a beer, and he's such a cool guy. But me and him have this very unique memory of each other. Is while we're doing this, Haroon's the guy, and if you look at him, he's taunting me the entire time, and I love it because I'm like, oh, I do that when I run, and we agreed. We're like, oh, well, what do you do like when you do it? I'm like, well, a lot of the times I'll look back and I'll go like,
just to make him,
I just like and like the entire time I'm going like whoop whoop. Can't get me, miss me, like, and it's funny because when I look at that, and it's funny, everyone like sees either like 2 or 3 matches for me. Usually that's one of them, or it's this one, or it's the me versus Carly one. But I think my favorite one of the 3 is probably the one where I fall the most with Haroon.
The first one.
He makes it so much more fun because I feel like when you taunt someone, they want to try to get you that much more.
It's like in a UFC fight when you talk trash.
Exactly. It's like, oh, now I have to get you.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And it's funny because like I said, I fall constantly. With Valentine, it was a lot of fun because he's another really big guy who just moves. Yeah. He's so well at moving that almost, if I did not dive, I probably wouldn't have called him. But dang. Haroon was funny because I actually thought I got that tag. Yeah, this is the one. The one with me and Charlie, Curly. So this is the whoop. This is the can't catch me. Yeah, that's so, I taunt and I'm looking back and doing things and I'm like, okay. I planned this in my head. And it couldn't have gone as good as it did.
The jump back.
It's weird because like I was like, all right, I knew I was going that way. Like I knew that was what I was doing, but I didn't know he was like he hit it in like his feet came from under him. And he
totally.
Just fell.
It was almost like it crossed over.
Yeah. Which is great. And it's so funny because I'm just like I did not know it was gonna be that bad. Like oh no, and he's down.
Did anyone sustain any major injuries in this one? Because this course looks hardcore. It's all metal.
So it's funny. I think the worst thing that has happened on the court so far is I think someone's hit their head, but it wasn't even on like one of the bars. It was like they landed coming down pretty weirdly, and because they landed coming down pretty weirdly, they like hit their head on something, which was thing. Actually, Sketchy Andy, he's the guy with the braids.
Okay.
He's called Sketchy Andy for a reason. He's super sketchy.
Dude, because I was going to say that course looks super real in the sense that like everything's metal. There's a lot of bars. There's a lot of hard contact points and stuff like that.
Ultimate Tag is one of those things I think that does really well for TV. World Chase Tag is one of those things that's going to do really well that could potentially go to the Olympics.
Like live.
Yeah, like I could see like live matches of this happening anywhere and people would come like at any sporting event and would come and buy like support the teams and jerseys and things like that. So
yeah, I agree. It's exciting, man. I remember when I first saw it, I was like, what is this video that has millions of views? I might as well click it. And I'm like, oh, they finally found a good way to showcase parkour with some of these guys.
And it's funny because like people think you being taller gives you an advantage. There are people who are like, so Mark, he's from Germany. He's such a small dude. He's such a unique mover. Like, I think you love him if you ever met him. He's such a unique mover. Like, he moves so well because he can go under everything. And,
of course, it helps. Yeah,
it helps. It helps. So as a taller guy, you gotta like force the action up top. So it's weird. It's one of those things that I think that World Chase Tag will be infamous. As long as parkour has been a thing, like, people will always want to look at World Chase Tag, because ultimately, like, when you go to a parkour gym, like any gym or gyms in general, right? Totally. The first thing as like a kid you want to do is like, oh, hey, how do I interact this with my friends? And then usually the first game that comes to mind is, let's play tag. And I'm like, dude, World Chase Tag is just the upgraded version of that, like, but an adult version, so it's set in a way where it actually works well, like it can be in a sporting event.
No, totally. It's really cool. It would be crazy to see like a huge round robin tournament that started with like hundreds of guys and whittled down to the top two.
Well, it's crazy because I actually got invited back this year in September.
Just gonna ask that.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm gonna try to make it out there. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to do it with the team I wanted to do it with. Like, I built the brand for the boys, so eventually, like, I knew like I was gonna leave and then come back, and eventually the boys are back in town. So I built the name specifically on that brand because I knew we were going to come back. I didn't know when, but I might just have to go with another team this year.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah. I think the round robin this year is going to be 26 teams. Don't quote me on that. I think it's going to be 26 teams. It might be a little less, but they're actually opening it up. We're going to have 2 U.S. teams. I think there's going to be 4 UK teams. There's going to be 2 Germany teams. I think there's also going to be 2 Japanese teams, 1 Spanish team. And then I think, I don't know if they talked to the Paulson twins yet, but I think they're talking about like an Australian team too. So
that'd be super dope, dog. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm interested to see that. Yeah. And so, like, for someone like yourself that people are look up to as like a speed course expert and a tag chase expert and stuff.
So weird. That's not a thing.
What shoes do you wear?
I don't have them on today. But the LaFleurs, the Pro models, I love them.
The LF1s.
Yeah, the LF1s, they're fantastic. And that's not me plugging them. That's just me, like, legitimately, like, I think they're the best shoe on the market.
Really?
No offense to anyone else out there.
What do you like the most about it?
Dude, that strap. There's a clip, and I don't know if you can find this, but there's a clip at me at NAPC last year for one of the final rounds. And then I'm going for one of the challenges. And as I'm coming up to one of the challenges, and this is like midway through, I hit a bar, swing around the bar, bail out, and my ankle basically like kind of catches at a weird angle. And because of the strap, it didn't break. It didn't like sprain it. And then, it just held. And it was so crazy because it's just like, I could have seriously torn something. If it was not for that shoe with that like lace, like if it was not for the LF1s, I probably would not be doing parkour.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like bad. I don't know if you can find it. It's on my Instagram somewhere.
It's on your Instagram?
Yeah, it's on my Instagram.
It's on his Instagram.
It's on my Instagram.
All right. Well,
I think it's actually, if you go to my Instagram, if you go to my stories, it's probably the bails, because I do have a thing specifically for bails. But I have no idea. Yeah, there it is.
Oh.
Yeah. So my ankle catches literally like that, and my entire body is this way.
Wow. Was that a speed run?
This was
that a
skills course.
Oh, that was really bad.
Yeah.
That could have been really bad.
That could have been tragic. I thought and it's crazy because I walked away, and that's a better angle of it. Yeah. I walked away literally unhurt, was able to do it 2 tries after this.
No way.
The entire crowd went, because we were all like, obviously when you're in that energy, you're just like, you're feeling it, but the entire crowd went crazy, and I was just like so happy when I got it, because I'm like, I did not think I was gonna walk away, and I had to take a second like afterwards. I was like, all right, let me
totally. That's one of those that could scare you for the whole session. Like that could be the end of the day, you know?
Yeah.
That's one of those where I'm like, I'll come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
And it sucks because like that literally was the finals. So obviously there's an added level of pressure. And the fact that just happened, like, spur of the moment.
Yeah.
It scared everybody, but I was able to walk away from it. And then at the end of it, like the end of the day, I was like, well, I mean, it's my last try. It's either this one or it's never going to be any of them. hit it, went all the way around, perfect.
Wow, that's dope.
Almost perfect.
That's dope.
Yeah.
And now, not to give away a lot of your secrets here right now, but I feel like people would want me to ask this. What suggestions do you give, or would you have for people to increase their speed or ability to get through courses faster? Is it setting up obstacles and going through them? Is it going to like a new destination outside and trying to get through it quick?
I like this. When I think of training speed and I think of optimizing how to get more speed out of yourself, first things first is you got to fix your running. Everyone runs really weird. Everyone runs really differently. Once you kind of do that, you can add in different obstacles and things like that. But ultimately, I think of it like this. When you drill your basics, your fundamentals down to the point where you don't have to think about them to doing it, speed's going to come in naturally, honestly. Because it's going to be less of, okay, how can I like do this safely? It's how can I like more efficiently move through this so I'm touching it and going. Yeah. So it does help when you, and I think of it like this. I love new spots mainly because it helps me bring out that like, oh, if I'm going to do a speed thing here, like I need to figure out a course, but I've never been here. So
yeah,
let me like figure out how I can optimize something in here and actually build a line.
Damn.
You know, and it's all about line building when it really comes down to it. But when you build your fundamentals to the point where you don't have to think about it, speed's gonna come naturally. But there are things you can do. I mean, you could weight lift. I'm doing a program now where you can lift to get your speed up to work on your legs and do things like that. But I think it's more along the lines of just like drilling those fundamentals.
Get the technique down.
Yeah, getting that technique so crisp that you just don't have to think about it. It comes second nature. You know?
That's dope.
It's funny because I tell people constantly, they're like, do you fall often? I'm like, yeah, I do. The only time that I like fall and like I usually get hurt is when I'm doing people things. Like if I'm doing parkour, if I'm not, I don't have to think about it. I can just do it. And whatever my brain comes up with, it just happens.
Yeah.
It just happens.
That's wild, dog. And so like now, like you said, you kind of said like you're not a public person. This like attention from Ultimate Tag is a little crazy. But with that being said, now that you have this platform and an audience and stuff like that, and also now that you're starting to get your name out there more, what goals do you still have left, I guess, for the rest of your life, and more so just like for your movement journey, you know?
Ooh, that's a really tough question. Because I mean, I've thought about like what I want to do for the next 10 years, but movement in general, like, so the idea is like, I want to give back to the community because they helped me get to this point. Like hopefully the goal is I'll have another opportunity to either own a gym or work with another gym to bring up people who are like-minded in my particular self and do things. But my goals for the next, I would say 5 years is I came out here for stunts. I came out here to work in that industry of particular things.
Okay, dope.
So I would hope that in the next 5 years I would have some symbolism as a stunt performer, because I don't think of myself as, I don't think I'm ever going to be a stunt man, because it requires a level of dedication that I know I could do, but I love parkour too much to let it go. And I know within the stunt community, like parkour guys particularly have a like name, and for me to kind of give like, I'm not going to say essentially turn my back on it, because I'm never going to turn my back. And I don't think people who have done stunts have ever turned their back on whatever they did to get to that point. I just believe that like I enjoy parkour more than I've ever enjoyed anything else. So for me to make that switch from me doing parkour like occasionally and then doing stunts to me doing just stunts could never happen. So I won't ever consider myself a stunt man. I will consider myself a stunt performer who is a specialist in parkour.
Okay. Yeah. So you'll take the jobs that come
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think that's more fair to like, if you want to put a label on it, like that's probably where so I would think in the next like 5 years, I would hope that that's something that I've proved not only to myself but to the community that we can do, and then that we can change that current light of what a parkour guy is or a parkour person is in the industry.
Okay.
If I could have some influence in that, even if it's tiny, like I don't think I'm going to be that guy who changes that, because there's so many other people out here who are just so much massive and so much better at what they do than me, honestly. But if I can have some just, I don't know, part in that in a weird way, I think it'd be kind of cool.
Dope. Okay. And then to follow it up, where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
Oof, 10 years from now, I mean, I think the goal for every parkour person at some point in time is to own a gym, right? They want to have their own gym. But it's funny because
it's a pain in the butt, Doug, trust me.
Dude, it's crazy. It's crazy. I actually got offered my hometown gym.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. The gym owner was going to give it to me for like $3,000 or whatever. And I was like, dude, coronavirus.
It's a tough time right now.
It's a tough time to be like, that's an investment. And I don't really think that I haven't earned my stripes yet. So I really really don't want to do that. Like, I can build gyms, but like, I can't. I'm not the guy that can run them.
Yeah.
I can't even be the guy who's the face of running the gym. I'm nobody, you know, and I like that I'm nobody. But I would think 10 years from now, right? I would own a gym. I would own some gym in Philly, because LA is, I mean, it's crazy, but you guys are crushing out here. I don't want to compete with you guys. That's too much. We can work together, but I don't want to compete with you guys.
So you have plans of going back eventually?
I mean, the goal is eventually, when I set everything up and I become this point where I'm like, okay, and I'm at least established in the community and the stunt community and then the global community, I want to go back and give back, because I want to show people back home, like, hey, you can come out here and there are other opportunities. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to do parkour, if you want to do these types of things, you can come this way and get paid to do that, and you can get paid really well. You know what I mean? You don't have to be a poor parkour person. Like the current, I don't know, you probably agree with this. To do parkour, you don't need money to do it.
Yeah.
But to also be a parkour person, you are essentially a poor person, because 100%. You don't need money to do it.
Because you need money. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's just like, I want to change that whole dynamic of like, you don't have to be poor and be like parkour. That's not cool. You know, like not. If you're gonna do parkour, I'm not saying you need money to do parkour, but it's cool if, like, okay, you're getting paid to do what you already love.
Nothing wrong with it. Exactly. You should get paid to do what you love.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. There's nothing wrong with that.
Hell yeah, dog. Yeah. Well, no, you never know, man. I mean, hopefully there's 10 seasons of Ultimate Tag from now. You got the Flow Academy, you know? Open the Flow Academy in Philly, you know?
Seasons. Oh my gosh.
It'd be crazy.
You guys would get tired of me in 5. I promise you. Like, come on, the Flow, really? Right? This dude. It's funny because I actually just started The Undertaker's Last Ride.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about that. I haven't watched it yet, though. Yeah.
So good. And I'm a big wrestling fan.
Me too.
When I saw that, I was like, oh, this is cool. And I like thought about it, like how I would want to be remembered if ever I was going to be remembered. Totally. And I'm like, man, if the sword I die on is the one from Ultimate Tag, that'd be a pretty good one, but I hope I don't get hurt. I hope it's not like the thing that they remember me is like I like not die on set, obviously, but just like I wreck myself. And
well,
you get wrecked and you get turned into a meme. And totally. I'm like, oh, dude, that's the worst. I don't want to end up like MJ.
I know what you mean.
Come on now.
I know what you mean, yo. I know. Even at Kobe's funeral,
exactly.
he made a joke about himself.
It's like. I mean, and at that point, like, obviously, to hold yourself at that regard, because Michael Jordan's going to be the best. He's always going to be the best. I'm never going to say I'm going to be the best at parkour, but it'd be cool if people started saying, like, because if LaFleur is the MJ, I just want to be a little LeBron. That's all I'm saying.
Nothing wrong with that, right? Yeah.
I ain't got no rings yet. Obviously, I ain't got no rings yet, but I've been around the block.
Dude, that's dope, dog. Well, like I said, I think you're at the perfect spot at the perfect time. You're out here riding the wave, and
the universe brought me here.
Dude, we're fingers crossed for this meeting you have that hopefully season 2 pops off for Ultimate Tag.
Yeah, that'd be really cool if they're like, hey, we're actually gonna be filming next week. Back to back. Really? Like, yeah. Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that'd be cool. How long are we filming for? 2 weeks. Oh, dang it.
Damn.
All right, I'll be there.
Hell yeah, man. Well, no, that's super dope, man. And more than anything, I appreciate you making time in your schedule. I know you guys are doing a lot right now for the show and press and stuff. So,
it's weird. I just want to say, like, thank you, seriously, because, like, as I don't know, just as an athlete, just as a fan, rather,
dude,
I never thought I'd get here. Like, actually, this is for all of you guys. I never thought that I'd be, like, literally here in California on the JAMCast.
Dude,
so, seriously, thank you.
Thank you, dog. I appreciate it. To me, it's the coolest thing in the world when people are like stoked to come on here. I'm like, dude, I started this in my bedroom like a little bit ago, just like being like, hey, let's just talk to some friends. And now it's like, dude, I get people like you who come on our show the week of your season finale of a show on Fox. And I'm like, dude, nothing cooler than that.
It's just weird because I never thought that I'd be here, and now that I'm here, I'm like, I try not to geek. It's weird. It's like because they don't know this. We talked about this. I've been a fan for you from like day one, and like the LXD was so big for me because it's
crazy,
just like,
dog.
If you don't know what the LXD is, please go and look it up. It's a fantastic series, and if I ever got a chance, if they ever brought that back, I would want to be on that list. That is the one thing.
There's been some talks with people trying to buy the rights to it.
I heard, and I'm like, I would love if my name could be on a shirt list of that.
I would go back.
I
don't perform anymore, but I would go back for that. Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
Oh, we'll figure it out. I know some people that are looking at the rights for this. I'm talking to you right now.
I hope they are.
I'm talking to all of you.
Tavon McVey.
Yes.
Remember the name.
Hell yes. Dog, well, yo, more than anything, man, like I said, I appreciate you making the time. I tell everyone, let's not make this the last time either. So, dude, hopefully we'll have you back for season 2.
Season 2 would be really cool.
That'd be dope.
That'd be dope.
Hell yeah, man.
The goal is, and I've talked about it with a bunch of other taggers, we want to bring in more people. So ideally, I have a question for you. I don't know if that's happened a few times.
What's that?
Who would you like to see, like athlete-wise, like in the parkour or tricking community, or even the stunt community, added
on Ultimate Tag? That is a great question, dog. Yeah. And my question for you is are they all U.S. based?
They don't have to be.
Oh, they don't have to be. Wow.
I think that, yeah.
They can bring in people from around the world. Oh, that's very interesting. You know what? I honestly, there's a few people that I have in mind.
Well, give me one.
I'll give you the name of one because I think this guy is a character.
Yeah.
And you beat him once. But dude, I think Eric would be a great character on the show. Just one, because his imposing like personality, but two, he's one of those people that's so stubborn that like I would love to see the head-to-heads with him against people that try to annoy him. Or like imagine the guy that pointed at you and did a backflip. Imagine someone doing that to Eric, dog.
Oh my gosh, he would crush them.
Oh, it would be hilarious.
Crush them. It would be hilarious.
It'd be hilarious.
It's funny because like I also agree that I think Eric would be perfect for the show.
Great,
and I think it's funny because like literally right as we were filming our show, he just got done filming, or like $1 Million Mile just came out.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was the reason he couldn't come on our show, and I was like, dude, this technically makes what, like, because right now, and he's gonna get me later for this, but right now we're 2-1 because he's beaten me twice, I've beaten him once. I think we're even now.
Dang.
I feel like I got on the better show. Yeah. So it's like.
Dang.
Right.
And then just for old school one, just because I think this guy's one of the fastest, I just gotta say Philly D.
Philly D would be cool. It's funny because I feel like he's also such a character. You can have him on as like the drunken.
I was gonna say,
Britain.
yeah,
oh
like just got out of the pub, shows up ready to run.
Dude, exactly. That could literally just be his like opening. It's just like his cold open starts off with him in the pub, and he goes on. He comes like, from his dressing room is an actual like pub to like him being on the course. That'd be cool. Yeah. I would love to see them, or even like Chase Armitage.
Yes, bro.
Chase would be cool.
Yeah.
I feel like
throwback athlete. Chase is a gangster, dog.
Because we've talked about so many people that I would love to like bring on.
I think that it's a tough one too, because I learned this from MTV's Parkour Challenge myself. The best athletes aren't necessarily the best people for TV.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's why like I'm thinking all the way around of like, like in my opinion, Eric's top pick just because of those things. The things he would say on the mic would probably be hilarious. Like his one-liners on the spot would probably be jokes, like
so classic, instant memes right there.
Yeah, 100%.
I feel Eric would be perfect for the show.
Yeah, I could just see him at the top of the mountain just standing there doing this right now. Right? You know what I'm saying? Dude, tell me you can't see him right now just standing there on the top of the mountain,
I think the hardest thing about trying to get Eric on the show is what costume do you give Eric? Because I feel like whatever you gave him, he's so freaking buff, dude. He would just rip out of it.
It would be really funny. Yeah, he would be a funny character though. Just call him the Russian,
Just call him the Russian.
Yeah.
That's actually a great name.
Just the Russian,
the Russian.
Yeah.
Season 2, if you guys are looking out, we're looking at you guys. I'll pitch it at the meeting. Hey guys.
So, please.
Looking at bringing in some people. I got some ideas.
And if you get picked up, Eric, I would like 10%.
Yo, you heard it here first, man.
10%. Hell yeah, dog. Well, yo, man, I appreciate it. I'm really looking forward. Hopefully season 2 does happen. And if it does, dude, definitely got to come back on here, man.
That's the plan.
Hell yeah, bro. Before we get out of here, though, can you look into that camera and let people know how they can stay up to date with you and follow your journey?
So if anyone wants to follow my journey, you can follow it at Tavon Flows. That is TAVON Flows at Instagram, or Tavon McVey on YouTube, or things like that. I do have a Facebook, but I'm not really pushing. But honestly, if you just follow the Instagram, you'll be able to follow all that other stuff because I'll put it up at some point.
Dope, and we'll be sure to put it on the screen. Hell yes. Well, yo, go. As always, guys, please be sure to hit that like button, comment, subscribe for brand new episodes each and every week. Join us every Monday for Jam Breakdowns and every Friday for a brand new JAMCast, interviewing influential members of the movement community like Mr. Tavon McVey himself. So as always, guys, I got to give a very special shout out to Mr. Connor Simon, who's back running the cameras and the Switcher app for us today.
Good man.
Got to give a special shout out to our guest this week, Mr. Tavon McVey.
Oh, dude. Shout out to Travis. He brought me here. I didn't think I was going to get here.
And as always, guys, coming through, I'm your host, Travis Wong. Thanks for joining us here on another JAMCast. And until next time, we'll see you all soon. Peace.
Peace, love, respect.